Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Now, I want to apologize in advance on behalf of the sun, on behalf of the weather. The clouds are moving, and so you will see in post, after cutting this video, the lighting might be going choppy a bit. Anyway, you're not here for the weather. We are talking about Maxwell Chikumbutso. So this is my update video. I made 2 videos explaining who Maxwell was or is, and the reason I did so is that's when I first came across Maxwell, which was back in March. He had his massive introduction or reintroduction to the public by launching or showcasing his products at the State House in front of the president of Mugabe. I feel like at the moment you are involved, even standing next to the president, it doesn't get bigger than that. Like, it's like we are saying that you've been verified, and here we're just audiences to receive and accept what it is that's been presented. The president is standing next to you and your product. It doesn't get more serious than that. But anyway, so the last time we saw him was at his launch, call it that. Yeah, it was a launch where there were quite a lot of overseas, like international delegates who came to listen to him speak and explain his technology. On that day, he said that there will be a trip to Cairo, which was then cancelled, and there has been no updates since, no official updates. But we do now have an update, something, through the Zimtech guy, and that's what's prompted this video. I have been listening and looking at your comments. I have tried to respond to as many of them, and I've tried to keep up with the DMs, and I really appreciate the DMs, and I really appreciate the conversations. I really do. Anyway, let's get into the video. I'm jumping the gun. Let's get into the video. If peradventure, perhaps, if this is your first time hearing the name Maxwell Chikumbutso, or you are looking for more information on what took place in March, check out my other videos. I go into a lot more detail. Check that out first, and then come back here. Also, there's many other people who have done great work, like breaking down what's going on. The Zimtech guy, I think he's based in Zimbabwe. He does a great job of giving updates and breakdowns as to what's going on this story and many others. And TikTok. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you how to do your research, but basically this is part 3, and we're not going to focus on the history in this video, but this is just going to be an update from me to you and my response to what was said by a representative, somebody close within the team of Maxwell Chikumbutso. For me, this is a story where several things can be true at the same time. For example, I don't believe Maxwell is the first discoverer for free energy. I also don't believe free energy is something that's impossible. A lot of you commented using or trying to reason using what we know today, and what we know today is subject to change, is subject to evolving, is subject to even questioning it, because perhaps it isn't all that there is to know. I do believe going against the current fuel giants, the current fuel industry, is equivalent to signing up for death. The industry is very viciously guarded to maintain dependence and to protect profits, essentially. I do believe also it's a real possibility that Maxwell can be threatened or pressured to such an extent that he gives up on his vision, on his ambitions, on the idea to help, I guess, first the nation and overall the continent to the rest of the world. So here is a response from somebody very close and within the Maxwell Chikumbutso team. And for me, this response, I have questions. Okay, for example, if we're talking about building a manufacturing site within the country, why can't it happen in tandem to smaller products that can be given either for testing, so for free to the general public or to a select few, or sold to people who can immediately benefit from the prototypes or from the small scale production that's achievable? The partnerships that existed in China, where are they? Why can't they be in place whilst you are building your own manufacturing site in Zimbabwe? Because that's an ambitious task that will take time. The lady even said it in her response, construction in Zimbabwe is very unpredictable. If you are already aware of that, how then shut off or pause on the entire project without a staggered approach to how you can still service whilst developing and building your own manufacturing site? The other question I have is, when it was announced that his products were ready in early 2025 and it was showcased at the State House, why was it published before there was a plan on manufacturing? That is a question. Like, why is this now being realized as a blocker after such an announcement? For me, if it is not Maxwell, there will be another person who actually pioneers the change necessary when it comes to the energy industry. So we'll speak more later on in terms of how this message has been received. But ultimately, this is something that for me, I believe is long time coming. And as I keep saying, if not Maxwell, it will be someone else. As I said earlier, I appreciate every DM conversation I've had on this. What those conversations taught me, what I didn't know before, is this was not Maxwell's first appearance on the public scene, and that for me definitely is a very valid, I wouldn't say red flag, but certainly amber flag. And that definitely brought out more research to the surface. I was in the DMs, in your comments as well, looking at what you guys are saying, and I'm taking all of that into consideration. I am still maintaining my position with what I said before in terms of I do believe in the theory of free energy. How it comes, when it comes, who delivers it is another question. It just so happened we've started the conversation through Maxwell Chikumbutso, and my hope is we will maintain and we will develop the conversation and have actually tangible products that are true and real in the real world and can actually work and service people and businesses. But I am fully aware that there are people that think this is a running joke, that this is recycling a reappearance every decade or so from Maxwell just because of how things have happened in the past, and also the silence that kind of, you know, this theme of going into blackout periods of no information, no public relation management whatsoever, and then reappearing with a product or with a call to the public. I do understand how that looks somehow, and for me it made me ask more questions about his approach and his team's approach, and question the government as well, because, like, you know, I don't know, it just, yeah, it makes me question the government as well. I don't know how to put this politically correctly, but I feel like everybody here is a suspect. Okay, essentially we just need more structured answers and more official information before we even think about requesting it. We need updates. We need to see that there is a thought, there is a plan to how this is being handled, and so far that hasn't shown to be the case. All in all, Maxwell's team needs to work on public relation management if they are serious about building a brand and building trust, in my humble opinion. From previous videos, I can see three camps, okay, on this topic. Three camps of people. There's the camp that believes Maxwell and his success and it being anchored in God and God giving him revelation. The issue I saw with this camp is they almost want to dismiss the need to prove the concept or the theory or the need to test the products presented, and this is not correct. There is a place for God, religion, faith, spiritualism, and science in tandem. You cannot approach the world with a development, with a product, with something as revolutionary as free energy by just saying it is God-led, it is divinely led, and just expecting no questions beyond that or not deliver any testing. I'm not saying that's what Maxwell's team is doing, but I got that sense from people in the comment section who just stopped at God gave him this divine knowledge or insights, and so therefore that's enough. Don't question, don't do anymore. It's God's work. That's not enough. Then there is the camp of people who believe Maxwell and his team are recycling and repackaging claims of inventions every decade or so to reach a new audience and to put out a call of action to a new group of people who perhaps may not know him or may not have heard about the previous inventions or events. I must say, I noticed that the strongest resistance is coming from Zimbabweans, which sort of makes sense since his immediate audience reaches them first. I just hope it's not a situation of if an outsider comes and presents the same information with a similar amount of loopholes and room for improvement in how they manage the delivery, Zimbabweans won't just be like yes, 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 because it's coming from somebody outside, if that makes sense. Now, in case this video gets to Maxwell and his team, or people that can make a change within his team or what they're working on, here are my 3 recommendations on any future development or invention from the continent, from the country. In fact, beyond Maxwell and his team, beyond the Zimbabwean government, I believe these recommendations from me to you with love are applicable on anything you try to do that is supposed to be revolutionary, that is supposed to be shaking ground, that is supposed to be new. Okay, number 1, test in exchange for testimonies before or during any public announcement. It builds trust, it creates a reputation, a positive reputation, and it indicates you're serious and you're organized and you're intentional. Secondly, have a PR strategy. A strategy, not just having people that respond to WhatsApp messages here and there to a select few. Have an actual strategy, and that strategy should limit the amount of request for information. That strategy should be giving at a higher rate than there are questions, if that makes sense. The last recommendation from me is to put your immediate community first before profits, before trying to target the whole world as a customer base. I'm going to pause here. I hope this video has made sense, and I'm going to pause here when it comes to the Maxwell story and this chapter until there is real progress and a real update moment in terms of where things have been left off. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. Please let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And where are you getting? What's your trusted source for updates on this topic? Please share it in the comment section so we can all be following along. Anyway, until next time, please stay safe out there, and I will see you in my next video.